Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission in the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along or have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. Next episode, we're recapping Halo 2 and discussing how it stacks up against the other games that we've played so far in the Halo timeline. This episode, we're debriefing The Great Journey from Halo 2. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
So that Tartarus, not the brightest bulb, eh?
Nope, not at all. Last mission, Master Chief chased down Truth and his cronies as he learned they were planning to take the Forerunner Dreadnought to Earth. We fought through the brute-led Covenant faction, rode a few gravity lifts, and even hung out in the Sanctum of the Hierarchs before riding a green beam onto the Prophet of Truth's ship. Meanwhile, Cortana stayed behind on High Charity to help contain the Flood. This mission, the Arbiter chases after Tartarus, who plans to force Miranda Keyes to fire Delta Halo. Thel and Urtas team up with more elites and a few hunters as they continue their battle with the brutes. They free Sergeant Johnson, who hotwires a scarab in order to punch a hole in the control room's front door. After a little Banshee fun, Arby engages in the final confrontation with Tartarus. Date of the game is November 3rd, 2552. This is it. We did it.
Yay!
Made it.
Yay!
It feels so good. So this is the third game that we've played now. And it does. It's not a relief, but it feels good to kind of wrap up the story at the very end, right?
Yes.
It's a weird way to play a game. One level a week. Do you know what I mean? It's just not something you would typically do. I don't think anyone plays video games like this, but it's very, very strange. So when you get to the end of it, there is a relief because you're like, I've been playing this game for 12 weeks. How many missions is this? 10, 12? Do you know what I mean?
12, yeah.
Right.
It's a long period of time to just play one video game.
This mission is 15 total, I think, but there's a couple that are crammed together, so it's like 13 or something. But yeah, like little inside baseballs. We record these once a week. If you found the feed and you've been listening through, you're probably listening to them more often. But we're playing the game, like David said. Then we're waiting an entire week to get together again and talk about what happened. So yeah, we've been playing this game for a long time.
It gives us the chance to kind of figure out what the next mission's going to be and do some lore research on what's going on in it, just to make sure that we're hitting all of the major points of the mission, because some missions have a lot more stuff to dissect than others.
Yeah. So why don't we just quickly chat about the opening cutscene? Krista, do you want to take us through real quick?
Sure. We're back to Arbiter and the Shipmaster. So they're just talking and they're looking at the control room, and Arbiter kind of has a flashback to Gravemind saying, there's still time to stop the key from turning. And basically Arbiter decides, we're going to the control room, we're going to get in there, and we're going to stop this from happening. This is kind of a weird turning point with Arbiter when he's kind of starting to believe what Gravemind and literally everyone else has been telling him. Yo, the rings kill people.
Right.
So
yeah, he was pretty stuck in his ways up until kind of this mission. Is he recalling what the Gravemind said, or is the Gravemind talking to him?
No, I think he's recalling what the Gravemind said, because if the Gravemind's way over in High Charity now.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I wasn't sure because last mission we talked about how the Flood or Gravemind was talking over the PA, or not over the PA, but like through the Flood. So I wasn't sure if there was anything like that going on. But
I think
it would
most
make
of the
sense.
Flood
There's no Flood nearby.
Yeah, I would think most of the Flood have kind of evacuated Halo at this point.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's something that I guess it's playing it through and talking it through is like you're playing two different characters and two different locations, but you don't always necessarily realize that one's, they're so far apart, right? You're in completely different areas. One's, like you said, one's on the Halo, one's on High Charity. But yeah, if you're just playing through and not necessarily paying attention to the story, that might be a little confusing. The beginning of the mission is kind of raining and a little somber mood, it feels like. But it's vehicle time.
Wraith play.
Wraith play, nice. Did you? So I'm guessing you grabbed the Wraith, Krista.
Of course.
Considering that Krista didn't even know what a Spectre was until we started doing this.
I don't know why, but the shipmaster was just walking along the whole time. I don't know why he didn't have a vehicle.
Right. Yeah, he was just on hoofing it, right?
Yeah, he was just hoofing it the whole time.
Funnily enough, he did that for me because like the first thing I did was accidentally blow up the Spectre, so he was on foot for me to play.
That's so funny.
I hit the Spectre like 30 times and it wouldn't explode with him in it. Maybe that's...
He is invincible, which is an interesting thing to note. And one of the kind of first bits of trivia I saw is that like if you take the Spectre and he takes the Wraith, he's on he's invincible obviously, but the brutes can't board it. Every time they try, they fail because he's invincible, so he can't be beaten out of it, which is kind of a weird thing to see.
So something of note, and we'll talk about it in the wrap-up show, is that this game is the anniversary edition, and they made it look way better. They enhanced some things, some audio, and did a bunch of things, but they left in all the kind of quirky gameplay stuff. So to that point is, when Halo 2 shipped originally back in 2004, that was just kind of what they had decided, right? Like the brutes can't board, but maybe they would have, if somebody else would have been remastering the game, maybe they would have reevaluated it and said, okay, well, maybe we can make this a little bit different. But no, they said, okay, everything's gonna be the same from like what you remember how the game played. We're just gonna make it look a lot sexier.
Yeah, it'd probably be controversial if they started changing gameplay aspects.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what anniversary and remastered editions are. It's just we're remastering the graphics so it looks nicer for you, and maybe if there's something completely like debilitating about the game that makes it unplayable, we kind of fix that a little bit, but it's as true to the original as possible.
Yeah, but it's the difference between remastering and remaking.
Yeah.
Remaking's a whole
kind of a total side tangent, but the Resident Evil 2 remake that's supposed to happen is like the whole opposite of that. They're like, it's nothing like the original game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they're changing a crap ton of stuff and to make it work.
Isn't that what they're kind of doing with Final Fantasy VII as well?
Yeah, that's the impression I'm getting as well. Where they're trying to get like make it feel like the old one, but actually be completely different. So you're getting like the themes are maybe similar, but you're getting completely different kind of gameplay.
Yeah.
But, I think for Halo, you didn't need to do that.
Yeah, and we'll save that for the wrap-up show. We'll talk more in depth on that sort of stuff. But be glad that you're getting all the original experience, but just a way better one, I guess. So yeah, we're Wraith playing. We're blowing up other race. We're destroying other other brutes and specters, and you're kind of winding through this cavern area. This is a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun. And I think this might be the first time I'm driving the Wraith in Halo 2. Maybe I picked it up one other time that I'm not recalling, but it's a lot of fun to drive this thing.
You get a couple opportunities, especially when you're fighting the Flood towards the middle of the game. Yeah. You can pick up some of the vehicles if you want to. But they never really just give you a Wraith like they did here. Mm-hmm. You have to commandeer one.
Is this your favorite vehicle, Krista? Is it or not?
It's my favorite land vehicle.
Yeah. That's right. I forget, just hopping into it finally. I forget the obviously the downside is the plasma cannon. Is that what it's called on top? The big.
Mm-hmm.
The mortar.
Okay, so that thing just takes forever to land, and it's hard to aim. But the maneuverability is great, and if you have somebody on the front doing the turrets, that's tons of fun.
Not in this game, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not this game?
No.
No turret in this game, yeah. On the Wraith.
Not on this one.
Only have the plasma cannon.
I thought the enemies had the turret.
Yep. Actually, if the enemy is in it, there's two little auto turrets on the front. They're like headlamps that pop up and shoot. But you don't get control of them if you're in the Wraith, even if you are.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But if you're playing against them, there are turrets. But if you're in it, you have no control over the turret.
Okay,
They don't fire.
Also, just back to the difficulty of using a Wraith. The nice thing about the Wraith is that the firing mechanism is pretty similar across all of the Halo games. So if you master it in one game like Reach, you're pretty much able to use it pretty much in the same way as you did. depending on what other Halo game you're
Are
playing.
you talking like the time, like how long you have to wait before you fire, and like the arc and all that
Yeah,
sort of
although
stuff?
the arcs are a little different, but they're
Yeah, I
similar.
feel like they are.
They're similar enough that you can kind of easily adapt to all the different wraiths throughout the games. At least that's what I find, because I played the wraith a lot in multiplayer and stuff like that when it was available.
yeah.
So you kind of just get used to it.
So there's lots of things to blow up on the way, and then you kind of come around a corner and you see this giant scarab right there.
Yeah, and you're like, do I have to fight that?
Yeah, right. So that's a little jarring, but then you still have some more cleanup to do towards the bottom there. And then and some phantoms come, and
Which
then, let's see,
cannot
what
be
else?
killed.
Yeah, I tried firing it at it, and didn't hit it. Maybe I wasn't close enough. But can you hit it and it just won't kill? It won't
Yeah,
die?
you can hit
Yeah.
it, and if you destroy the 3 turrets, it flies away. But essentially, it
see.
stays there and just harries you and like makes your life miserable unless you actually deal with it. So I
Gotcha.
always try and destroy it, or I'll destroy the turrets and then it just flies off.
Gotcha. Yeah, anything else about this part? I mean, eventually you just kind of park it, like you clear out enough, or you can just hop out, and then those doors will open. And there's a couple hunters inside, and that kind of scared me a little bit.
The hunters
when the
have
doors
come
open?
to our aid.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the elite there in the middle, and there's 2 hunters just staring you down. But,
I won't lie to you,
now-
the first time I played that, like first time ever, and the doors opened and there was 2 hunters and elite, and then they were like, hunters have come to your aid. I was like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
want some
so
hunters to be my
badass.
buddies.
Except, I had a problem where I entered the next room with all the brutes and the brute shots, and I immediately was like, okay, I need to turn around and go back and kind of just snipe them, and the hunters wouldn't get out of my way.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
just died. I'm like, come on, guys, please.
Yeah, they're hulking, and they're hard to see around. But there's a ton of brutes up there. There's a ton of brutes
Oh, yeah,
up
there's like
top.
4
At
or
least it seems
5.
like it. They don't die easily.
So Justice is the only level in the Halo games where you can hunters are allies, or a pair of hunters are your allies. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is interesting.
Yeah, it feels super good though. It feels like, yeah, let's go,
Yeah,
baby.
it's totally
I'm rolling
unique.
with some hunters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this whole game has lots of kind of, I don't know, revelations or feelings where you're like, oh, this is happening. Okay, all right, let's go. Yeah, that's a good feeling right there when you pull up with your hunters. The only problem I did have is they didn't follow me that often. So kind of through this whole area, did did they get stuck here and there?
You
Yeah.
have to go back to them a lot. I think like I found that like they followed you into a room, they fought in that room, I moved to the next room, and then I had to go back and get them in the other room, and then they would
Yeah.
follow me again. I had to do that 3 or 4 times, and eventually they stopped when you get up to you'll get to like the bridge section where you fight a bunch of jackals and bullets.
Right.
They didn't move any further for me then.
Yeah, that's kind of the further I got them to. Did you punch them to get them to follow you, or just kind of like
No,
sweet
the-
talk them?
I actually just went back to them, looked at them, they saw me, and just started moving forward. So I was like, all right,
Okay.
okay.
Did you give him any special weapons, David?
Hunters.
Right. Yeah.
Here, have an energy sword.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be cool.
Give them a Pokemon treat.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Give him like a little raspberry or
Rare
something.
candy.
Yeah. It's like Let's Go Eevee or Let's Go Pikachu where you can like pet them and stuff.
Right.
They follow you around.
Good hunter. Good hunter.
Let's go
Let's go.
Golo.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, that's good.
Ooh, that is good.
Let's just have a Pokemon game with all of the Covenant races.
Like, you're welcome, 343. You can use
That's
that
right.
one.
Did you see that art? There was Pokemon art recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
actually been
alright,
circulating for a while.
Yeah. All right. Let's. You could tell like we've been playing this game forever. We're just all over the place. So yeah, we continued. David already mentioned there's that bridge that we get to with all. How many jackal snipers are on there? There's a ton. They're just all hanging out.
It sucks on anything above, like, normal. That bridge
Normal.
is
Yeah.
awful.
And this is the bridge. This bridge is there once you're a little later on, right? You can come back to this bridge. Did you guys notice that?
No.
You fly over it, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, further on when you're
Yeah.
Banshee, you can kind of come back to this area. Anyway, at the very end of the bridge, once you clear out this area, then you have a bunch of drones and buggers, and I think my hunter did go in and help me with them, but then that was it.
I just ran past it. I just ran to the next room. I'm
you?
like, you know what? I got too much shit to do to deal with you guys.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I mean, you do feel like you need to kind of rush through. I think we said it in the other mission too, that you feel like, okay, let's go. We can sit back and wait, but your sense of urgency is there.
Yeah, they're about to fire the Halo. You gotta move.
Right. So we keep going, and then we let's see here. I think I just got lost a little bit.
We go out on.
You go
straight
into
out
the
on
prison area.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that is the prison area. Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was right here or not.
Which is weird for a Forerunner structure to have random prisons.
Yeah.
Unless it's like usually the only kind of prisons we see are for Flood.
I was about to say that this could easily just be something to contain Flood.
Yeah, that's true. Except
There's
they
some
make
good
it
music
so
that starts
easy
when
to open these prisons. So
Yeah.
That's true.
it's like, man, you
Yes.
guys. I can see why you guys had so much problems with the Flood in the past.
So good music starts, kind of like a thumping upbeat, or thumping with some upbeat chanting, which is kind of good. Makes you feel a little more pumped up now. And then you can go around and you can just open these doors, right? You just shoot that little thing on the bottom, and then your buddies will pop out, right?
Which is cool. So you get these kind of elite honor guards, and are they counselors? I think these are the counselors. I think these guys are unique. I'm gonna look it up right now in 2 seconds, but
Okay,
I'm pretty
we'll
sure
talk.
these guys are like the Uber elites. They're pretty good.
Also,
And then
you get
have,
hunters in this room too, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
you
You
get
get
two
another
hunters.
set of hunters. And the
Yeah, it makes
terminals in
sense.
this room. So
And the terminals in the room.
Oh,
yep.
crap, I
One of
missed
the
it.
jail
it's
cells.
on the top to the right when you're facing the door to exit.
Oh, bummer. Okay.
But it does make sense lore-wise that everybody would be in jail because the Great Schism's going on, right?
Mhm.
So the brutes, quarantine or stuck those guys behind bars.
The brutes aren't known for capture, but again, we see the Covenant capture people time and time again when they're not known for capturing people. So at this point, they're
Right.
kind of unpredictable considering the circumstances going on.
There's a few prison breaks in this game when you think about it.
Yeah.
Not the first time.
Oh, are you saying they would rather just kill people than capture them? Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I don't know why they'd be holding on to them. Good point. But it does vaguely make sense that they would be in jail.
It's just super convenient for us, the Arbiter.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Then we break everybody out. Then we head outside, kind of head up these ramps, head outside, and then did you guys catch the dialogue? The brutes were saying something. I think they were just saying, "Let's kill these guys" or something to that effect, right?
Yeah. The thing about this mission is there's a lot more, because I was going over the transcript, there's a lot more dialogue than kind of gets said in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like some of the dialogue can be skipped if you're killing too fast or you're going
Sure.
too fast. Just
Yeah, that makes
general stuff like that.
But the long and short of it is the brutes there's a couple of Marines that the brutes are. I think they're saying that they're gonna kill them all. I don't think they're gonna capture them or take them with. But one of them is Johnson, and you see him kind of break free like once you start shooting, and then he hops up onto the Scarab, which is pretty cool. And then we cue that cutscene, and yeah, Johnson's hot wiring this bad boy. Let's go.
Listen, you don't like me, and I sure as hell don't like you.
Yeah.
He also calls Tartarus Mr. Mohawk, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty funny. I like that.
This whole exchange is really funny. It's like, screw you, screw me, let's go kill Tartarus.
Yeah, I don't really trust you, but we're gonna go do this together. We're on the same team for right now, anyway.
Also, it's so cool, like, standing there and just kind of getting the scope and size of the Scarab.
Yes.
Because it shows, like, Arbiter and the huge gun of the Scarab, like, kind of charging up. It's like, I don't think I'd survive that. Also, of course, Sergeant says to grab a Banshee, and I'm always like, you know what, Sergeant, don't mind if I do. I will gladly grab a Banshee. Thank you.
Yeah, those Banshees, some of your elite buddies bring those over, which
And
is very
the
nice.
two of the Marines here are interesting characters too.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, it's like Sergeant Dubbo.
Oh, it is?
Buddy, yeah, the two of them. They disappear, so it's presumed that they're in the Scarab. But they're there. Captured
That's
with Johnson.
Chips Dubbo? Or
Yeah.
Chips to Dubbo.
He's not in Halo 1, is he?
Yes, I think so. I think he's he's in all the games, and I think that was like his thing.
Oh, okay. That's some deep lore right there. That's cool though that they keep somebody around besides just the main characters. All right. Let's see.
Also,
now, go
they
ahead.
are elite counselors.
Okay, so they are the counselors.
Yeah.
So now it's time to get in that Banshee, and it's time to, the Scarab. Does the Scarab just go? I guess I'm kind of always flying ahead. But does he need you to push him along? Will he just
at the very, very start, you need to take out those wraiths, otherwise he won't move.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, he'll just move constantly, and then you don't have to do anything else. Really, it just looks after itself.
Also, this part is so hard on Legendary.
Yeah, it was hard on normal. I crashed a couple times.
It's really the thing. Yeah, the Banshee's actually pretty weak.
Yeah, it is. You take a couple shots and you're dead, and you're already looking for a new one.
If you want to do some Banshee training, though, this would be a good mission for it.
Yeah, definitely. The thing about Halo that really bugs me is that the Banshee bomb is always a different button throughout all the Halo games, and it's really annoying.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I think it was B for me.
It was B, yeah. But in the other games, it's like you have to swap the weapon.
To it,
so you press Y and you switch the weapon from the one to the other. So it's like the same button then to shoot it, but you have to switch between the weapon.
Yeah.
So I'm always pressing Y. I'm like, what am I doing? Sometimes I fall out of the machine, or I don't know.
Yeah, you press B and you just die. It's like, oh, okay.
And the Banshee acrobatics are always different, I feel, as well, every time.
Some are faster and some are slower, too. Like, Halo Reaches are super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason that I never got good at the Banshee, because I came to the game kind of later. So flying in the Banshee between the different games is a lot different, and so I just never got comfortable.
It really is.
That's my excuse.
Yeah.
That's okay. I like it. I'll allow it.
So we just, I had to hop in at least one, maybe two Banshees before I made it to the end.
Yeah, I swapped out.
Yeah.
And it's good that they give you that. Like, you can go back and get the second one that drops. And there's also at least one on the ground in the middle of the valley, just parked up for you to do just that.
Yep. Yeah, I found one in the middle and then one kind of off on the side in the cavern. Almost towards the end, anyway. Then you have those turrets at the top to deal with, and then, Banshees and Wraiths, and I think there's some Spectres down there, too, so there's a lot to deal with. And the Scarab, I didn't really notice that he was doing much. He was just walking.
No, yeah, he
doesn't do anything. He just walks.
Oh, he doesn't. Okay.
He can kill you by stepping on you. So if you're doing like super low runs, I died today when he stood on me.
Really?
Yeah.
So Scarab can kill you early on in the game. I think Metropolis mission. I think it is.
Yeah, it can step on you and kill you there too.
Yeah.
The foot mechanics.
Watch out.
Some good physics.
That's right. So this is the part where I was talking about earlier. You can, if I just kind of eventually was like, okay, I'm just gonna go and try to get out of these guys' way. And I didn't test how high you can fly. I would imagine there's a ceiling somewhere, but you can fly all the way up, kind of close to the control room. You take a left, and then that's where the little bridge is that we want to cross with the snipers, the Jackal snipers. I remember originally getting lost because I think I got so far ahead of the Scarab that I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Like, nothing's happening, and it just took for a long time for the Scarab to finally catch up. And then yeah, he does blow the hole in the door,
which is nice. Really cool. It is so cool.
Yeah, it feels good. And just quick side note, so there is the skull is on the top. It's like on the top of the control room. So there's a way to kind of fly up that way, and then you can either get out, or maybe you can. I don't know if you can land it right with the skull or not. The walkthrough I saw, the guy landed on the bottom and then walked up the side of the kind of slope of the control room. What skull is that? Black Eye is up there, and that regenerates shields only with melee attacks.
I hate that one. I hate that one.
It sounds awful, especially on Legendary.
Because when you're close to people and you're meleeing them, once you get your shield back, it's automatically automatically broken again because you're next to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. It's rough.
Yeah.
Very rough. All right, so then we get in the control room. We're finally there. We're gonna do this final little trudge to track down Tartarus. Those initial doors. We got a couple brutes to deal with here. This is the glass floor room, right? Where there's like
Yeah.
like this what had to be one of their like original ideas. I feel like. And they definitely kept it in, and it's fun, but it's also frustrating on the higher difficulties because these guys are no joke, and there's a lot of them, and they're all charging at you.
Yeah, and you can kind of get stuck down
rough.
there with a bunch of charging brutes.
I get pinned in.
Yeah, the brutes just take a lot of shots. They're just bullet sponges to take down.
Also, one of them has a shotgun.
Yeah.
Don't get near
grab
him.
That.
Oh yeah, definitely grab that.
Kill him first. Grab that. So there's 2 waves. There's the initial wave, and then the second wave, you get an honor guard brute that comes out, and that's just kind of scary.
Now, if you're real sneaky, you can stand by the door with stealth and get through and skip them when they come in. The door won't open for you until you kill them. But if the second wave comes in and you get it, you can skip them all.
Okay.
By running for it.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of Halo is that, especially in the harder levels. We've talked about that a million times, but don't feel bad for just running.
Even cool people run.
That's right. Cool people live. But I do always wonder, like, a lot of the times I am rushing through and dying a lot by rushing through, and I wonder, like, okay, well maybe it would have taken just the same amount of time if I just really sat.
Yeah, actually did it. I think about that sometimes too. I'm like, I'm running through this, I'm dying so often, and I'm still in this bloody room. Maybe I should just fight them.
Yeah.
Right.
Just play the game. But anyway.
I don't know if you guys noticed the objective here, but it says enter the control room and deal with Tartarus.
Yep.
Nice.
And that's what you do. You enter through those doors that last wave of brutes go in, and then we get a cutscene. David, do you want to do this cutscene?
Yeah, it's a pretty dope cutscene. So pretty much Tartarus is there with 2 brutes and Miranda and the Icon, and he's pretty much trying to force her to activate Halo. And then there's a cool moment, kind of like a Western kind of moment, where like Fel just kind of walks in and you just see his feet and he's like, put her down. And it's pretty cool. And so pretty much it's an interesting cutscene because it is the Arbiter trying to talk to Tartarus via the 343 and get him to explain what's actually happening, what you're actually going to do with the rings. Johnson makes an excellent entrance in here with a sniper rifle and totally squares off against all these brutes and is like, if you want to keep your brains inside your skull, tell your buddies to chill. And he says like, don't shake the light bulb. It's pretty cool.
I love that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. It's I find it interesting that like Tartarus is so into this religion, but yet so disrespectful of the Oracle. Do you know what I mean? Just like doesn't all throughout this game you see like Tartarus just like throwing the Oracle around the place, not really giving a crap.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of at odds because even with his speech at the end, let's say he throws 343 at Johnson, knocks him out like a bowling pin, and then grabs Miranda and forces her with the Icon to activate the Halo. So the whole room just kind of starts activating. And he says like he picks up his grab hammer and says like it'll be the elites, it's the brutes, not the elites, that will guide the hierarchs through the great journey or whatever to ascension. So he is fundamentally believing. This is an interesting cutscene because it is kind of ironic that the Arbiter is trying to convince Tartarus about Halo's true purpose when the Arbiter pretty much killed a heretic leader when you first took him over for saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a little bit sad, but also very interesting that's in the course of the game he comes full circle and then becomes the heretic he was originally created as an Arbiter to kill. Right. And then here we are.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I also love the reveal that, all the Forerunners are dead and everything was dead in the galaxy for a while, and just how somber that note is when Guilty Spark says it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Is that the first time we heard that?
I think it's been alluded to a lot, but yeah, that's the first time we actually hear that the Forerunners died with the Halo
They're
rings.
all gone.
Yeah, they're all dead. And so was everything in the galaxy, and I think, I don't think it's completely understood that everything died when the Halos were activated.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it was like maybe left open-ended until now.
Yeah.
Like, nope, everything got effed. The hammer that he has a name. The Fist of Rukt.
Yes. I meant to look that up in an earlier episode. I knew it, but I mentioned it.
Yep. And now it's essentially you versus the Fist of Rukt and Tartarus. So you gotta. There's some brutes you gotta clear out here at the very beginning, and that's actually not super easy. Especially, we always say on the higher difficulties, but there's like this little wall of enemies right after the cutscene, and you gotta move them. You gotta take them out before you go and jump onto that center area. And I missed the jump a couple times. Did you guys get the jump?
Yeah, I got the jump.
I just mistimed it. No big deal. But it is possible to die. I've confirmed that just by jumping. And then I didn't have that hard of a time with this boss fight, and I've only played it a couple times, so maybe you guys can talk through it a little bit better. So he's got like this aura around him. Is that some shield? Is that?
It makes him invincible.
Yeah, it's the invincibility brute thing, chieftain.
Yeah, they bring it into the later games. In fact, in Halo 3, when you have like equipment and items, one of those items is an invincibility thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it is just an item used to make yourself invincible. Brute captains drop it. But this is like the first instance of that, where like it's not actually explained at all, but like he is invincible, and then you can do it yourself, but you have to use a sniper beam rifle to take down his shield, and Johnson has that. So the mechanic of this boss fight is you running away from Tartarus while you shoot. What I do is I try and do laps and kind of bring him. I don't go too far. I don't explore this area. There's like 3 floors with like grav lift and there's weapons and stuff around, but literally I just run in circles and let Johnson shoot him as easy, just trying to line up those shots as quickly as possible. So because like once that shield is down, you then have to use any weapon you have to hit him. Do not be tempted to go near him with a sword. That is just how you die. So it's also like other brutes kind of drop into this fight and stuff like that you have to kind of fight off, and there is just an endless amount of suicide elites that jump in here and just batter Tartarus. So
I know, they just go right up to him,
so
and he
sad.
just clocks him in the face.
It just clocks them, yeah.
On normal, this was pretty easy. I didn't really have much trouble with it. I think it maybe took me like a minute or something like that. Like they took his shields down a couple times, and he was all of a sudden dead. But it's a lot longer fight otherwise if you're playing heroic or legendary.
Oh yeah, it really sucks.
So it's Johnson that has the sniper, but Miranda's up around here somewhere too, right?
She's there, yeah. There's a conversation going on during this boss fight, which is kind of hard to hear, but it is like Johnson, Miranda, and 343 discussing how to deactivate what just happened or to deal with what just happened. So essentially, Miranda can, like, if she removes the index, it'll cause the system go into standby, which is the following cutscene. So once you kill Tartarus, that's kind of what triggers that.
Can you pick up his hammer?
No.
No. Not in this game.
Nope.
Not in this game. That's right. Yeah, so we take him out, and then we get the final cutscene, and maybe Krista, you can do the final cutscene.
Sure. So we see Keyes doing some epic parkour, trying to get to the index. She grabs it.
That's crazy though, right?
Oh.
Like, she's just hopping around. It looks cool, right? But maybe kind of unnecessary. I don't know. It looks cool. It's a cool cutscene.
Yeah, it's really nice.
She's badass.
Yeah, she goes to that center beam, grabs the index, and immediately everything's kind of starts to slow down, and we actually see the beam of energy go towards the middle of the halo, where you can see all that energy start to be built up, and then of course it expels. So as we've seen in many of the other Halo games, we actually see those beams of light going into the halo. Like in Halo 1, you see the beams, and this is actually like them building up the power in order to fire the ring. So of course, since we took the index out, that energy just dissipates into space. Of course, it didn't have enough energy to actually fire anything, but it was enough to look really cool.
Yeah, and a slick ass blur cutscene.
Oh, it's so beautiful like that too. It's amazing. So it cuts back to the control room. All the lights are dimmed. We see Johnson get the best ride ever from Josie Spark. Cool. He's just grabbing onto him. He's floating him over. And then we see that the HUD or the holograms are just kind of pulsating and going crazy, and Keys is just like, what's that? Gilderspark's like, a beacon? What's it doing? It's communicating at super low luminal speeds with the frequency of... And he basically just says that it's because of how we deactivated the ring, it's communicating with all the other installations, and now all 7 halos, or 6 halos because we destroyed one of them, all 6 halos are in a standby mode that can be fired from a remote activation place, and they reveal that the remote activation is the Ark.
The Ark.
And they're like, where is the Ark?
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts.
And we know where the Ark is because we already talked about it. Very beginning, if you guys mentioned, very beginning of this, there's that terminal cutscene that has regret. It's called Beholden. If you don't remember, go find that and watch that again. But it outlines, and this is new content. So the original people that played in 2004 didn't know this, but we know this playing now Halo 2 Anniversary. The Luminary, which is a device that finds other Forerunner artifacts, essentially identifies all of the Halos and the Ark itself. And they do say that the Ark creates the Halos. So this is a big deal. So playing through this now, feel good about that you have this information. If you played in 2004, there's lots of questions going on.
Yeah, and it also reveals that there's something to do with Earth. So then we cut to Master Chief, who is still on his Forerunner Dreadnought super ride, and and you can.
That's right. And so this is 2 weeks further on then.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked about this was November 3rd. Slipspace takes some time, and then Chief pops out.
Yeah.
I think you need to note that the fight in space is still happening.
Yeah. Well, because the Covenant are still trying to take over Earth. I mean, there's still Covenant forces around Earth, so it honestly looking at it really quick, it looks like they've kind of crippled the Covenant force at this point. But once we come out of Slipspace, we hear an officer saying, take it out, it's not one of ours, and Chief is like, this is Spartan 117, can anyone hear me? And Hood says, what are you doing on that ship? And Chief says, sir, finishing this fight. Fades to black, credits roll.
The world ends. Oh my god, people break their controllers and TVs are smashed.
Yeah, it is. There's now that we have the other games to go straight into, it's not as big of a deal as it was in 2004, but Halo 3 didn't come out till 2007. So people had quite the wait ahead of them to figure out what exactly is going. And there have been a lot of different things about this ending. People absolutely hated it because it's like it doesn't tell you anything. It's like, we have to find the Ark. Where is it? Cut to Chief. See you guys later. See you guys in the next game.
Yep. Credits. Yikes, that's rough.
It is. It's a really rough ending. For such an incredible game, it is really rough. I think now it's kind of cool because you just go straight into Halo 3 and it kind of just picks off right after. But yeah, I can see why people are really mad about that, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll cover that in the recap show. So in your next episode, we'll talk more about that, our thoughts and feelings. But for now, we're done. We're done with Halo 2. But
yay,
there's a super secret cutscene.
Super secret cutscene. We didn't talk about if we were going to cover it now or not, but let's just cover it now. And then we'll talk more about the implications, in the next series, I guess. But yeah, if you played in Legendary, you get an interesting little cutscene at the end.
Even if you don't play on Legendary, because mine played on normal.
Played too.
So I don't think it's really a Legendary ending anymore. I think it's just an epilogue.
I think so too. I think it was originally and is no longer. They just give it to you.
So in my notes, I keep writing Gravy Poo when I talk about Gravemind.
Oh goodness. I don't think he'd like that name, my friend. I can go over
nasty.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
I can go over this really quickly. We are back on High Charity. We see a bunch of flood spores, a bunch of gross tentacles. And Gravemind says, Silence fills the empty grave now that I am gone, but my mind is not at rest, for questions linger on. I will ask, and you will answer. Cortana appears, close up on Cortana's face, and she says, all right, shoot. And that fades to black. So there's obviously some dialogue going on between Cortana and Gravemind. We already know that Gravemind himself is very persuasive. So nothing good going on there. And also Gravemind, the silence fills the empty grave now that I'm gone seems to indicate that he is not on the Halo anymore. He is completely on High Charity now.
Yeah.
Which is not good because High Charity has slip space drives.
Yes.
It can go places while the Halo cannot.
Well, and I think it's important that they, I mean, obviously, you know, the team, 343, Joseph Staten, like, they had something in mind for Gravemind. You meet him in this game as the kind of, he's in charge of the Flood, right? To put it I don't know, as simple as possible. But he doesn't, he kind of appears a little bit here and there towards the end, just enough so you know he's around, but then there's lots of lingering questions, and you know, they kind of forced themselves to continue this story by then writing you know, Halo 3, because they dropped this big seed that, hey, something's gonna happen here between Cortana and Gravemind he's on High Charity, and this thing has already been all over the galaxy. It's got all this information on it, so it's not the end that we've seen. All they're saying is you'll see Gravemind again.
Yeah, it's basically just saying that Cortana and Gravemind are still players in this story. There is some supplemental material on this particular scene and kind of conversation. It's in Halo Evolutions. I think it's Volume 1. And it's called Human Weakness. So there's some reading for you, and we'll talk about that a little later on. We'll go into depth.
Yep. On the last episode, I believe I also mentioned Halo Uprising, the comic book. Read that also, because that is going to essentially explain what happened in those 2 weeks while Chief was in the Dreadnought. And there's other stuff. There's lots of other stuff in that comic specifically talking about, because like we've been gone a while, right? Like when did we leave Earth? It was like a month ago?
Yeah, because
like
it was
timeline?
2 weeks to get to the Halo.
Yeah, it was more than that, because I think the Dreadnought, the Forerunner technology, is more efficient.
Yeah.
Going through slip space, so it gets back faster than the time it took for us to leave.
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, because I mean the events that actually happened on the Halo were only 1 or 2 days. So essentially, we've been gone for close to a month, probably a little more than a month.
Yep.
Yeah, the first one is October 20th. That's where you are on Cairo Station.
Okay, and then we're back on November 17th.
Yeah, so it's been basically a month,
Basically
a little less.
And we didn't, you know, as we experienced in Reach, you know, the Reach eventually did get glassed, but they haven't glassed Earth because they're looking for something.
Well, and also,
Otherwise,
you
they
know, all the
would've just taken it out.
stuff going on with the Covenant. Most of the Covenant fleet was at the Halo when they found it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you think about it, they thought
Truth
they were
brought
going to
pull
fire
everybody
it.
in.
They thought they were going to fire it, and then bip bop bam, the end. Great journey happened. Mission success.
We also mentioned at the very beginning of the series, more reading, but Halo First Strike, there is, in that book, it describes like more Covenant fleet forces and kind of what happens with them as well. So definitely, that's a really good book just to help bridge the gap between the two games. So I would definitely recommend reading that as well. All right, is that it?
That is...
I think it is.
That is it.
That is it. We still got to do Terminal. We still got to do Community. So David, I posted. I think I posted a poll in Facebook, and might have done so in Discord as well. So have a look at that. But let's just cover off on this Terminal, and then we will wrap it up pretty quick.
So this Terminal kind of just finishes Rifume and 343's kind of love saga that's going on. And Rifume's kind of just talking about, I have all this knowledge, I know what's going on, I know that the prophets are bad. Who can I tell that would actually be able to make a difference? And of course he goes right to Thiel Vidam, but alas, the ring is no more, which means Vadam must be either dead or, as he predicts, an Arbiter. And he just says, once he's the Arbiter, he's going to be so under the Prophet's feet that he's probably going to die and probably not ever going to be able to use this knowledge that I've gathered. Which is kind of interesting. This whole cutscene is just about his failure to get anyone to believe him, but as it turns out, he was able to have a short dialogue with Arbiter, and then all of these other working, moving entities around Arbiter kind of eventually convince him that the Great Journey is a lie, the prophets are bad, the elites need to rise up and conquer, and of course the prophets didn't help themselves in that regard either. So...
Yeah, so lots, more Arbiter stuff. Lots of Arbiter stuff here. If you want to learn about the Arbiter, play Halo 2.
Yeah. And this is literally setting up Sese Rifume's and the Arbiter's kind of conflict that happens at the very beginning of the game. So this is just kind of ending the prequel and going straight into Halo 2. I find it interesting because it's at the very end of the game, and usually the cutscene, or not the cutscenes, the terminals at the very end of the game are usually working up to the next game. So in Halo CE, it was a bridge between CE and 2, but this one's kind of a bridge between these terminals and Halo 2 instead of Halo 2 to 3.
That's a good point.
But
yeah, there's just lots of terms, and it's like, these are all out there. You can watch them all in a row. It would almost make sense to watch all of the CESA and 343 terminals together. Kind of clump them all together. I don't know. I mean, they did it once per mission. That makes sense, right? To be a collectible or something that you find. But I guess I don't know what the right way to actually watch them all would be.
There's not a consistent story. Yeah. That's the problem. Like, Halo CE had a very consistent story. It was, learning more about 343's backstory and how he is dealing with the events going on his installation. Well, this one's kind of, it's Sese, or it's a prophet, or it's just someone talking.
Right.
Or it's Locke. I mean...
Yeah. I went back and listened to the first episode, and I think we mistakenly... because we hadn't played the game in a while, we thought that they were all Locke. Because remember the first part is like Locke kind of reporting on the Arbiter, but...
yeah, I'd completely forgotten about the hierarch that's like doing like recordings and stuff.
Yeah, right.
I found his stuff fascinating because I love learning about the Covenant.
Yeah, the Covenant stuff.
And the Arbiter
really cool.
in general. Yeah.
Alright, let's do community, and we will end Halo 2, and we'll recap it on the next episode.
Cool. So, Colin Perkins posted in the Facebook group on our Discord, if you're a Discord person. Mission Debrief will be wrapping up our coverage of Halo 2 this weekend. As you know, 343i
wait, this is the one, I think. It's the poll.
Oh, you have a poll?
I have a poll.
Scrolly.
Scroll.
Filling the time with some scrolls. Here we go. Cut nothing out. Colin Perkins posted in the Halo Facebook group. Who's the best bad guy from Halo 2?
Yeah.
Gravemind, Tartarus, Truth, Regret, Mercy. Gravemind wins by a landslide because that's the correct answer.
Is it though?
Yes. Ian Francis vote for the environment, which is also Halo Gravemind, I would say. There. Oh no, Jackal Sniper, said Chris. I hear he's quite the villain in Halo 2. I would agree.
Yeah, Jackal Sniper.
Jackal Sniper is worthy of a list. There is Gravemind in Halo 3 is way more of a bad guy than Halo 2. For me, Tartarus is cunning, deceitful, and tough as nails, says Justin Taylor. That's a good argument. But I think the introduction and even then the implications of what a Gravemind is just kind of blew me away, and also how amazingly slick and disgusting it looks in Blur is why I think most people are like, holy crap, look at this Gravemind, it's amazing. And Tartarus kind of takes a bit of a backseat. But I think he was, in terms of like a narrative campaign, he was something you could understand and motivations could get, and like he was a good kind of a heel to kind of like bounce the two characters off, John and Arbiter. I would see that both ways.
So the way I worded it, who's the best bad guy? Because there's lots of bad guys, but Truth is the bad guy, right?
The Flood have
Only got
been
a couple
the
votes
Flood
on
have
that.
been the bad guys since the beginning of time, my friend.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. All right. Well, we'll probably talk more about that in the next episode. But any other little bits of trivia that you want to touch on, David? Or we get through it all?
There's tons for this mission, just in like glitches and stuff and all kinds of things you can do. I kind of mentioned some of them. One of them that I didn't know about that I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. If you manage to get a Spectre into the control room, this is at the end of the game. I don't know how the hell you do that, but there must be a way. She can get Johnson to ride into it. If the player drives away from the entrance and comes back, there's another Johnson in his place. Using this glitch, you can create up to 3 Johnsons, 3 in the Spectre and 1 on the ledge, helping the player in the mission, which is useful for taking out Tartarus shields. So I think that's kind of crazy. But also funny.
I want to live in a world with 3 Johnsons.
Yes.
Yeah. I knew you'd like that one, Krista.
He knows what the ladies like.
He does know what the ladies like. Is anything else? Well, yeah, I've kind of said the rest. This is technically the first level where the elites and the UNSC fight alongside each other, and it's the only level in Halo 2 in which they do for a very brief period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of it. Like there's a bunch of glitches, there's a bunch of other little hidden secrets and stuff in this game. If you want to go check them out, kind of things you can do. But those are the ones that, like, narratively I kind of liked more so than anything else.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Well, that will do it for our debriefing of the Great Journey mission from Halo 2. On our next episode, we'll be recapping Halo 2, discussing how it compares with Halo Reach and Halo CE. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. Until next time, evolved.
Evolved.
Evolved.